Do you want a no BS Cardano price prediction?
Where the fuck are they going
You
to
want
get...
a tow? I can get you a tow. Believe me. There are ways, dude. You don't want to know about it, believe me.
Yeah, but Walter...
Hell, I can get you a tow by 3 o'clock this afternoon with nail polish.
I can get you a prediction. No nonsense, no fluff, no hype, no BS. Just cold, hard logic. Where's Cardano at now, and where do I think it could possibly be headed this cycle? That's what we're talking about today, so let's dive right in. Look, first off, if you need a good overview of the history of Cardano, you can look at my Cardano Explained for Beginners video that we put out last year. It kind of covers all the basics, what Cardano is, what Cardano does, yada, yada, yada. Pretty much everything you need is there, and it's basically still relevant today because really not much is happening on Cardano. There's been no major overhauls or anything really new happening since then, and that video will fill in any sort of foundational gaps that you might have when thinking about Cardano. Now, if you watch that video, then you'll know that my main concern with Cardano a fucking year ago, was the disparity between Cardano's total market cap and all of its user metrics, such as total value locked on chain and all that kind of stuff. And that disparity remains true today. In fact, it's just as bad, if not worse in some metrics, considering how far we are into this particular bull market. So here's Cardano's current total market cap ranking. Number 10, $30 billion market cap, ahead of stuff like Hyperliquid. But there it is. However, when we look at Cardano's ranking for total value locked, it's at 19th with only $383 million TVL, dramatically behind other players like Solana, which only has 3x the market cap. So this is what I mean when I say disparity. We've got an asset with a $30 billion market cap, but less than $400 million TVL. That's not good. But if we turn to other user metrics, it gets dramatically worse. Cardano ranks 41st in stablecoin market cap, only $38 million in stablecoins in the ecosystem. You heard that correctly, just $38 million in stables. Compare that to Hyperliquid with many, many billions of stablecoins on their network, and it's been on the market for less than a year, with all the major stablecoin providers currently falling over themselves to try to help launch USDH. Big difference. Nobody's trying to launch a stablecoin on Cardano. No one gives a shit. Its 24-hour DEX volume is in 35th place at $2.9 million. Shocking, man. Hyperliquid does that in like a minute. Cardano is in 38th place in the number of DeFi protocols, with just 59 in operation. And as you can tell from the DEX volume, no one's using the damn things. So this is the state of Cardano's ecosystem. And we could go on and on and on with other shockingly bad metrics like the number of daily users on chain and stuff like that, but we've kicked into the balls enough. By the way, before you write in the comments that Lark has no idea what the hell he's talking about, he's just a hater, blah, blah, blah. First thing, everything I've shared are facts. They're facts, not opinions. I'm sorry if you don't like the facts. Second, I invested in Cardano back in 2017 at 2 cents, did a 50x on it. It was fantastic. And in the 8 years since I've invested in Cardano, almost nothing has changed. And answer me one simple question. If the Cardano blockchain is so freaking fantastic and its technology is so game-changing, revolutionary, and great, why is no one using it? Where are all the apps? Where are all the users? Where's all the DEX volume? Where's anything? Why is it that Solana and Hyperliquid and dozens of other chains have launched years after Cardano did, and they've completely overtaken it, and Cardano has essentially done nothing metric-wise in that time? So what explains this disparity? Well, we'll get to that in a second. But guys, if you want a long or short Cardano or any other top coins, Solana, Ethereum, whatever, well, Femex is the place where serious traders play. With deep liquidity for altcoins, secure infrastructure, and access from anywhere in the world, it is built for people who demand more from their exchange. Right now, they got some insane deals, by the way. Deposit $200 and make one trade, and you'll instantly grab $50 for free, which is like an easy $50 to land on the floor, go pick it up. But it doesn't stop there. You'll unlock up to $800 in trading rewards and even one Solana just by participating. And this month, 5 lucky traders will each take home an extra 1 Solana. So if you're waiting for the right moment to join Femex, and again, available to anyone, anywhere in the world, you might need a VPN in some cases, now is the time to do it. Join today, link right down below here to get started trading the way you should with freedom. So why the disparity here for Cardano? Well, it can really only be one of two options. Option one is the market is pricing in Cardano's future value. Cardano's gonna be awesome at some point in the future, maybe 10 years from now, 5 years from now, whatever, so it's still worth $30 billion based on that. Based on some expectation that this blockchain will do great things. There's definitely a hardcore group of believers that think that's true. Option two is you just have a bunch of community members who are just sitting there with their spot bags and they just keep watching Charles talk about cool shit and they just don't sell. They buy more for whatever reason. They're holding these bags in hopes, of course, when loading them for profit at some point in the future, as we all want with all of our bags. But look, between these two choices, I think option 2 is what's really happening here. You have a shit ton of bag holders for Cardano. It's really the only reason that's keeping the price so high. Cardano's $30 billion total market cap, despite the languishing user metrics, feels really off to me. I'm not saying I'm shorting Cardano because it's a cult coin, okay? You wouldn't short a cult coin. Now, someone could counter my bearish take and point to the litany of technical upgrades and the white papers and all that kind of stuff that's happening on Cardano. Sure, but the problem is that all the other layer 1s are undergoing technical upgrades too. Why would I buy Cardano when I could buy Say, which by many metrics is dramatically better than Cardano? Why would I think that Cardano's upgrades are or will be far more advanced than its competitors? Why not just buy Solana? Why not just buy Say? Or another coin, right? This market can see this, and that's why Cardano's market cap is pumped up to $30 billion, but it's not pumping dramatically like other coins. And I don't think any of this is gonna be changing anytime soon. So I'm gonna explain the simplest thing I can here is that the community members with their bags right now hope that it's going to go up in price. Last point with concerns to our fundamental analysis before we get to the charts. A Cardano bull could cite all the developing economy partnerships Cardano's entered into, most of which are on the African continent. And indeed, if you watched my beginner's video, you know this is the big picture direction for Cardano. Cardano believes in something, man. It's not like just, fly-by-night chains just to make people a bunch of fucking money. All these dirty capitalists out here want to make people money. Cardano wants to change the world. Price be damned. Meaning Cardano is trying to tackle real-world problems across big sectors like education, agriculture, government, and healthcare, primarily in developing economies. The problem is literally any other blockchain can do that too. And you have to ask yourself a question. If you're some developing economy or something, do you want to launch all your shit on a blockchain that no one uses, or do you want to launch it on Solana? The choice is obvious. So then you have to ask the same questions again. Is the market pricing all of this very good and important work that Cardano intends to do in right now? Or is it just people have believed this story and think it's worth $30 billion? Unfortunately, I still think it's the latter, because at the end of the day, I have to go with what the user metrics are telling me, the facts, not the feels, okay? Basically, everything we just discussed is my fundamental analysis for Cardano, and it paints a grim picture. And I'm not trying to bash on Cardano, it's just the reality. I don't think it's worth $30 billion. The market obviously does not agree with me, but there you go. As you can see, I think Cardano's fundamentals are pretty weak. So with all that in mind, let's turn to the technical analysis. So here's Cardano's full price chart on the weekly. Now, just glancing at this chart, my main concern is that Cardano is beginning, or perhaps in the early stages of becoming, a dying coin in a dying ecosystem. I'm surprised it's lasted 8 years of these kind of terrible metrics. My sense is that we'll probably see Cardano print a cycle high that could actually be lower than last cycle's high, which would be brutal for all Cardano holders. Thus, the coin in the ecosystem, if it fails to make a new high this cycle, well, it's going to be a rough ride next bear market, let's put it that way. We've seen this happen to countless other crypto coins before. The fact that Cardano has these kind of metrics when other coins that have metrics like this have basically been long forgotten about. Now look, it's a dark take on a project that I actually really like. I like Charles, I like the Cardano community, I like Cardano blockchain and what they want to do. But this is what I think as an objective outsider who does not currently hold a bag of Cardano. But of course, if we do see ADA break into new all-time high territory, then great, fantastic. I'll celebrate that for you guys. I'm rooting for you to win. The one wild card here to understand, though, is that Cardano, despite all of its absolutely dog shit metrics, I mean, they're so bad. Tell me that they're not so bad. They're so bad, okay? Cardano basically trades like a meme coin because essentially it's a cult coin. The cult of the beard, if you will. Cardano has this core group of believers that keep buying it and believing in this big picture that Charles Hoskinson keeps presenting to people. It makes no sense for it to be worth $30 billion. That's quite the vision, but it is what it is. So here's my price prediction for ADA's peak. The bear case, $1.70, which you might think, come on, Lark, that's ridiculous. Why? Well, first, that price fits in with the sort of picture, the perspective on ADA's future price action, meaning a multi-cycle lower high. I mean, really, why is anyone buying Cardano in 2025 when you could buy like literally 50 other coins that have so much more potential upside and so much more adoption and better metrics and all that kind of stuff? It probably is realistically what should happen to Cardano if markets were rational and realistic, but markets are anything but rational. I would just like to remind you guys, last cycle, Cardano hit $3, which is about a $100 billion market cap, and it didn't even have smart contracts yet, man. Come on. So anything's possible. The most bullish irrational BS would be to see ADA get to the 3.618 Fibonacci line this cycle, which is around $11. That would be the absolute mega bull case. Something happens. Cardano starts getting used by the US government for everything, and Bob's your Uncle Fan's your aunt goes $11. For Cardano, though, I think $5 if it's going to break out beyond previous highs, the 1.6-minute Fibonacci line, diminishing returns for the cycle. Not as bearish as it probably should be with that hot take of 170, but $5 feels like if you're going to get a diminishing return this cycle, I feel like it going to $5 would be sort of you get a new high, but it's kind of a Pyrrhic victory. It's kind of a kick in the balls. Look, at the end of the day, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money. That's never been the point of this channel. It isn't now. Okay, you want to buy Cardano? Be my guest. Enjoy. This video is about me looking at Cardano and thinking, is there ever a way that I'd consider putting my money in Cardano at this point in the market when I have the option to buy Solana, when I have the option to buy Hyperliquid or Pump or Say or 50, 100, dozens of other coins? And the answer is no. I would feel like a crazy person buying Cardano with these kind of metrics at this kind of valuation. Now, if you told me Cardano was worth like $300 million, let's say, maybe there's something there if there were some big upcoming catalysts. But at $30 billion, I'd rather buy XRP. Thanks for watching.